Hello, and welcome into the LCS Challengers League presented to you by Turo with our sponsor, Subway. I'm excited to be here. It is the promotion tournament for the spring 2024 season, and today are qualifying matches between Supernova and LiT Esports. And with that game ahead of us, I have Desrex and Cubby joining me on the desk. It's great to have you both here. So how are you feeling? Let's start with you, Eric.
I'm pumped, man. We promote someone today, Alex. You should be pumped too. Cubby, what are you doing looking so bored? Oh, you're this way. Cubby, what are you doing looking so bored? Bring up the energy, man. We're sending someone to the NACL.
Hey, let's see. Cubby, I want your best primal scream right now.
All right, how about that?
10 out of 10.
Let's go.
I love it. Let's go. I'm so ready for this.
Use that for like a death yelp. That's a good one.
I didn't think I'd open the broadcast doing that, but, you know, when Mad Magical asked, I try to deliver, and I'm excited about today. 1 seed versus the 6 seed. That's been really good. They're 4-0 in the tournament so far, and want to keep that streak going as the winner of today's match makes it into the league for spring of next year.
Yeah, and that's what's so exciting. Eric, you have a good point. I mean, we should be really excited. One of these teams will be qualifying for the 2024 spring season. The other one, though, will still have a chance. There is another chance for them. There's 2 qualifying matches. The loser would just go down to the next qualifying match. So, Eric, looking at the games, you know, just kind of getting a little bit of spoilers before we really dive into it. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are just pure excitement, man, because both of these teams realistically could be the ones that end up in the NACL just because you get that extra life. That's kind of the reward of being in this upper bracket. So it gets me hyped. It gets me pumped, especially some of the more specifics we'll get into later.
Yeah, and speaking of specifics, we actually do want to go over the format of how the promotion tournament is going first. So let's hear it.
Welcome to the LCS Challengers League Summer Promotion Tournament. I'm Sierra Dawn, and I'll be leading you through the stakes, the format, and some of the changes we made coming into summer. In spring, we saw 8 teams contest 4 promotions into the NACL. For summer, we have a total of 6 teams, all vying for 2 spots. The 2 lowest placing NACL teams from the summer regular season, and the 4 best teams from the NACL Open qualifiers. These 6 teams are placed into a double elimination bracket, with the qualifier teams playing a best of 3 against each other to start. Qualifier teams were ranked by total points earned across both open qualifiers. There will be 4 rounds of gameplay, with the first 2 rounds being best of 3s, after which the remaining rounds will be best of 5. The teams coming from NACL will have a chance to only need 2 wins to make it back, while the teams coming from qualifiers need to win 3 matches to make the jump to LCS Challengers Spring 2024. Those eliminated have the opportunity to challenge for their spot in NACL by taking part in the next split's open qualifiers.
And that is how the tournament is going to go so far. But I kind of want to really dive into what has played out. Because as we said, today is going to be one of the qualification matchups. But that means we've had a lot of League of Legends already played getting to this point. Looking at the bracket, Cubby, I mean, we're all going to be surprised by LiT. So let's not just say, like, oh, what's the most surprising thing? Instead, what's something else you'd like to talk about?
You know, I gotta give a shout out to Winthrop. I thought that they actually had a pretty solid tournament. They ended up going 500 in their games. Yes, they were eliminated early on, but for a collegiate squad, they have their entire season ahead of them, and they proved that at least in this tournament, they were a tough out. They gave our teams a headache, and that's something that could be very promising for them as they have an entire school year to get better and try and be a very strong team in CLOL. And who knows, maybe be in our spring promotion tournament as well if they decide to keep on competing in OQs. I think they proved this week that they can play at that level and want to see them try it again in spring.
Broke my heart, Alex. It broke my heart to see Winthrop go down. I really wanted them to be the second collegiate squad, but it's a shame. Another story to look at is going to be Mirage, though. Remember, they had a 28-4 regular season to get here, so it was a big surprise to see them drop down, but after that game against Winthrop, it does feel like they're starting to get back up to that form, so it makes me excited for what that lower bracket has to offer.
And they were the favorites, right? They were the favorite team coming into the tournament that everyone's like, this is the team that is most likely from the open qualifiers to promote, yet they're still fighting their way through the lower bracket and have to face off against Team Ambition tomorrow. But that does bring us to what we have going on today. The matchups for this evening, that is going to be very exciting because you have LiT Esports, the underdog story of the bracket, facing off against the #1 seeded team, Supernova, a team that coming into this one, we kind of were looking at them as being one of the strongest teams of the 2 teams that we have from the NA Challengers League, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, Supernova, especially the way they've been playing in this promotion tournament, has shown that they are cleaning up some things. You know, Sketch is starting to do well into that bottom lane. Music is getting back onto some of the bigger playmakers that he can play. So it's great seeing this new look on Supernova, especially considering we're getting something very similar with LiT, a team that's been pretty much counted down when it comes to a lot of these rankings. And here they are in the upper bracket, Alex.
Exactly, and that's what I'm really excited to. And you kind of were touching a little bit on Supernova, and I would like to dive in even more about their roster and total, because we have seen all 5 of these players throughout the summer season, but looking at them, Sketch is someone who has been stepping up, but Quacker's always got to be the guy that really is getting everyone talking about him. Same with Trevor there in the bot lane and how great these players have been playing, Cubby.
I just love how you introed this. Like, we've seen all 5 of these players throughout the season, and they still have no images at the end of the season. So I see them right now? I don't know. But hey, when I see them on the Rift, whether it's NA Test 1 or Quacker, Sketch, Trevor, and the rest of them,
you mean you mean the Natist, right? The Natist.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I gotta say, Supernova as a whole, I thought that they were a team that a team that was lower in our standings, they played map well. And I think that's really shined in this OQ tournament because they've taken early strategies, and we've seen that this team, much like what happened throughout the regular season of Challengers League, if they get a lead, they can win with it. And at a lower level of competition, we've seen them get more leads and convert those to more victories. So I think overall, Supernova, whatever they've worked on from the month off pretty much, out of the regular season to now, I think it's really shown in this tournament, and they have 2 lives, 2 best of 5s now to try and make it and re-qualify for our league next spring.
Yeah, that's going to give them a little bit of room to work with here, but I do want to really focus on how they've done it in this tournament, and I really want to focus on Music, because I feel like Music was one of these players that we saw at the very beginning of the season when he was playing more of these carries. He was looking really good, but then he was put on more tank duty, and Chad actually called him out and said, this guy, he plays all these carries in solo queue, yet I look at the Challengers League, and he's playing nothing but Sejuani Maokai. Where are the carries? Why is he not playing that? Yet here in the promotion tournament, we have been seeing far more of that look here, Eric.
Yeah, that's what I really, really do like. You'd mentioned it early season. It was like Kindred and Vi that Music played a lot of. Now able to hop onto some of these champions such as the Nocturne, as you're seeing on your screen right now. When Music is in a position to carry, he's not half bad at taking that econ and running away with it and setting up Supernova well. So I love this take. It was very, very anticlimactic when Music was on those tanks. So let's get him carrying. Let's get him taking down bodies, man.
Yeah, I think that when it came to Supernova, a lot of our discussion was like, hey, who's going to be the carry of this team? It seems like it was Quacker at times, but it's not always top lane meta. Seeing Music step up and be a really big part of this team has been great. I talked to him before the matches, kind of asked him like, hey, you've been on more carries. Is that you? Is that a team thing? And he said, hey, I feel like the meta shifted. I feel like that is slightly true. We are on a very different patch in 3.16. So still playing to what the team needs. I love how Music, being a little bit humble there, but also we've seen him really play with confidence on the Rift, and hope to see that continue today.
And speaking of playing with confidence, LiT Esports, this is the story, right? The 6th seed, everyone was saying at the very beginning, this team shouldn't even be here. Why are they here? They got lucky just to even be a part of the promotion tournament, yet they are now in the first of 2 qualification matchups facing off against Supernova. That's one hell of a Cinderella story here.
I mean, it definitely is, especially for Dragoon and Kisno to go and find a second chance to qualify potentially right here. But I do want to say, this team, like, it's more fresh to me. I'm barely finding out about them as we get into the promotion tournament, but everything I see about them, I love them. Not just over on that top side, but messages as well has been a fantastic standout. Rock Boom. Watch his interviews, man. This guy has such charisma and such excitement when he talks on that mic.
And he's someone who's very exciting, right? You're playing with Rock Bottom Esports, getting second in the open qualifiers back in spring, and only barely missing the promotion tournament for summer then. So now seeing him here with a new organization, having joined halfway through the season too, looking really good. And that's the big thing, is you look at this LiT Esports team, and they aren't getting lucky in the promotion tournament. People, like I said, they're saying, oh, they're lucky to be here. But they faced off against Mirage and then Team Fish Taco and beat both of them. I made a little fun graphic for you guys to kind of illustrate how it's going so far. No longer the underdog. They are the top dog.
Wow, that's very direct there, Mad Magic.
Yes.
That's no bouncing around.
No beating
prancing
around the bush.
that one.
Yeah, no, we're going straight to
putting
it.
that Photoshop license to use, Magical. That's some splendid stuff right there. But it does really tell the story of what LiT's been doing, right? Because not only were they able to take down Mirage, but they took down someone who was already in the NACL. You know, we had to bid farewell to Team Fish Taco, but I'm looking bright at the future, and with LiT making plays like these, it's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking real good, but they do have to face off against Supernova, right? So that's why it's like they beat Mirage, the 3rd seed. They beat Team Fish Taco, the 2nd seed. Now it's the number 1 seed here in Supernova that they have to face off against. And it's also really fun because Dragoon Kisno were a part of the Supernova roster back in the summer promotion that helped Supernova get here in the first place. So this could be their chance to kind of strike that vengeance you were just saying, Eric. Say, hey, we got you there in the first place. Now it's our turn to take that spot away from you.
Yeah, that interview that Dragoon had was so emotional, man. I really did love it. So now that he's able to get here again, despite all the adversity he's gone through, it does feel really good, and it does set for a pretty exciting narrative.
It does. But a player that we kind of haven't touched too much on that I do want to focus on is going to be the mid laner for LiT, and that is Messages. Because Messages, as a player, I think has been a big standout as well. We were talking about Rockboom and how he has been looking really good. But Messages is another one of those players that you look back to the last time we really saw him in one of the promotion tournaments, he subbed in for the Last Dance and didn't look the greatest then. So he's had all summer to really work on promoting himself, getting better, Cubby, and he is looking far stronger.
Yeah, I talked to Messages before the match, and I kind of asked him, like, hey, how is this OQ different than the last one where you subbed in for the Last Dance? He said, you know, a lot of my teammates were still kind of young, and I had to step in and be a bigger voice in at least Native and the Last Dance, but the fact that he gets to do it with the same squad now, he was talking about how, you know, his dream is to actually make a Challengers League slot. He wants to be a native mid laner competing at the highest level one day in LCS. This is really the first step towards that. And I gotta say that Messages, for me, has been quite a bit of a standout in the mid lane this tournament. I don't think mid lane is the strongest role that we usually have in Challengers League, at least this split. But Messages has really been making a case that he could be the strongest mid here. I think that he's shown some really solid play. Love how he's sharing his point of view clips on Twitter. I was really impressed by that as 0-1, and hope we see more moments from that, like that, from Messages today.
But players that we wanted to focus on, Eric, you touched on him briefly, Dragoon. The player who played with Supernova beforehand. This guy back, another chance to get promoted with a different squad. I'm not going to let you talk about this one, Eric. I'm going to get it back over to Cubby because I want to get his thoughts on how Dragoon is as a player.
I mean, it's funny because it feels like Dragoon's been on the brink of making Challengers League so many times, whether that's sneaking into Proving Grounds back when it was that system, whether it's even qualifying and then not being able to get to play with the roster like Supernova in this past split. It's really hard not to root for him when, you know, we see the interviews, the passion that he has for this game, the things that he talks about, and then also just the flair that he has, like blind picking Mordekaiser, blind picking Darius, not caring what his opponent takes, and winning games into them. So I think Dragoon, especially outside of lane, has been good this tournament. I do want to say that he's got to step up in lane today if he wants to go up against Quacker, who actually led our entire Challengers League in solo kills throughout the regular season. And definitely, that's going to be a match that we're going to have our eyes on, Desert.
Definitely. And speaking of Quacker, I know we want to start getting onto that conversation because this is going to make the top line matchup that much more spicy, right? Quacker has been a little bit more of an interesting top laner to watch because he has a lot of ups and he has a lot of downs. In fact, if we can start rolling the clips, we could take a look at those right now. Usually, I want to start with the lowlights right here. It's usually in the 5v5s where Quacker kind of has the most blunders, not really getting as many autos as he should, not syncing up with the team as well. And this is something that if you go into some of our post-match interviews from the last season, you'll see that he comments on it as well and says like, yeah, that's what I need to work on. I realize that people are hyped about all the plays I make. 28 solo kills in a regular season. The first place, as Cubby had alluded to earlier, is nothing to scoff at. That being said, the thing that is the same about Quacker is he's still one of the most lane dominant when it comes to the early fights coming out over into the top lane, whether it be a 2v2 matchup like you're watching right here, or the 1v2s with his Olaf. He's always so confident on those Ghost champions. What we need from Quacker right now, if he wants to make this promotion, is to make sure it's not just about this lane dominance. He needs to get that next bit of growth that shows he can work with his team and bring his team great success.
There's only one way to find that out, that, right? That's really getting into the game. But before you do, I do want to give a shout out. We got hosted by the European Masters. It was a 5-game series over there as well. K-Corp, I'm going to spoil it for anyone who didn't see. They did win. And if you haven't seen that game, I recommend going to watch that one because there might have been some backdoor shenanigans that happened in that 5th game. So it was a fun one to watch for sure. And hopefully those that are joining us here from Europe are going to have some spice between Supernova and LiT Esports, our team from the Challengers League and Supernova facing off against the underdog story of LiT Esports. So before we dive into the draft, both of you, final thoughts.
I gotta say, I mean, this is for a promotion spot for those of you just joining us from Europe. The winner of today's best of 5 does qualify for the Challengers League in spring. A loser gets another chance to play the best of 5. Of course, you want to book your ticket now, and honestly, seeing what LiT has been able to do, I think they're building more siege comps, and it's been really strong for them at the later stages of the game. But Supernova's been playing really strong early game comps like the Nico Nocturne, taking things like that Renekton and Olaf in the top side. So I want to see if Supernova can continue to find those leads in Snowball, because they've done a really nice job of that in this tournament.
And Eric, I'll let you have your final thoughts when I throw to you right now as you get us into game 1 of our first qualifications match.
Oh, man. I mean, my thoughts are just hype, man. It's our first team that's going to qualify from this tournament, so I couldn't have it any other way, especially with this throwdown that we have Kisno Dragoon, storyline of them trying to get their revenge, Supernova looking to hold on. It's going to be a banger, and it begins now as we start the draft.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really excited for this one, just because we've seen some good things from each of these teams in this tournament. I gotta say, I expected Supernova to qualify in this tournament. I had Mirage Alliance and Supernova getting through, but LiT has been a real pleasant surprise to watch. I remember meeting Rockboom at I was casting a collegiate event in Philadelphia. It was St. Clair versus Maryville for the final. Maryville wasn't there. They were competing in 2 tournaments. They were actually in LA for the Comic-Con, and then also were playing the tournament in Philly. So I got to spend a lot of time with the St. Clair guys. Rockboom has a great personality, was so motivated to improve. Yeah. Seeing how well he's been able to play in this tournament has been really cool. Even music, like he gave a shout out. I always ask the players, like, hey, anything else you want to share? And he said, shout out to Rockboom. I hope he qualifies through the lower bracket, because of course Supernova wants to win today, right? So I feel like some of his peers have really gained respect for Rockboom throughout this tournament and is playing solo queue, and it's been really cool to kind of see him use this elevated platform and more views compared to OQs to kind of make a name for himself, as he's definitely earned it with his play on the Rift.
And it would be a pretty wild story to talk about, considering the seeding that it took to get here. This is the 6th seed, the very bottom of the pack, going against the 1st, and it's in the upper bracket as well, so that speaks loads to what LiT were able to bring. But now, as we start to focus on the draft, it's going to be marksman bans coming out, both Xayah and Caitlyn taken away by Supernova, as well as the Ivern going for the jungle. They want to take away some of those picks that Music has been so good at, like the Kindred. Going to ban away the Maokai on top of it.
I'm glad you highlight the Ivern. That tells me that Supernova wants to open up with a Sejuani. So I actually expect to see Sejuani taken away with the last ban here from LiT. That is one of the better answers to Sej in the earlier stages of the game. That said, Rel's actually taken off the board, so now Supernova, again, very much expect to see the Sejuani first pick here. Also that Caitlyn. I think Caitlyn really rise in priority, as keep in mind, EMEA Masters, they are on 3.15 or 13.15. This is 13.16. So Caitlyn getting some buffs on this patch has definitely seen some increased strength with SRX, and a lot of teams have been taking advantage of that. No one else, or no one more, I should say, than Rockboom.
All right, there's going to be a lot of comfort for Sketch as the lock-in of the Tristana. You can flex it around, but back in the old days, I say old days, like a year ago when Sketch was first on ADC before he did his role swap and we got all messed up here in 2023. This was one of his big champions. Another one was the Sivir that Sketch would play a lot. So a lot of strong comfort coming in. Now LiT going to respond with Azir and Volibear.
So Volibear, uniquely a flex for LiT. Both Kisno and Dragoon have played it in this tournament, as Dragoon was using that top lane. Actually had one of the coaches of LiT in one of my VOD review streams talking about how he thinks that Volibear is actually a really slept on pick right now. I'm a bit surprised that Sejuani dropped in prio so much, given really how high priority Sejuani has been, and also how well it synergizes with Quacker's champion pools. I'm expecting to see Sejuani Renekton taken here.
All right, the Sejuani does get taken, and that means Yeah, if you do take the Renekton with that, that's so much power you get onto that top side. Sejuani links up really well with a lot of melee champions. Ruthless Predator itself is pretty strong to apply those permafrost stacks, excuse me. But it's not going to be the Renekton locked in just yet. They are going to go for the marksman pick and show that this Tristana is going to be in the mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to wait to see where that Volibear goes, or at least want to see a little bit more information. I'd say for LiT, I would love Nautilus here. The point and click versus Zeri. Also, it's really tough for Tristana to buffer that dredge line because you actually get 2 pulls. Not to mention the depth charge, the point and click too. So I feel like Nautilus gives LiT some nice heavy engage. And right now, looks like LiT almost want to have an overload composition into both the Tristana and the Zeri. Trying to bring a lot of CC and engage to the table to get onto what are what is a squishy core so far. I think they're going to take away things that can feel for that. I love that Braum ban with double marksman. You have Nautilus. I feel like that's a very smart ban from LiT. And expect to see something else in that realm of possibility here too, as we could see a Leona taken away as well from Trevor.
Pretty big respect ban coming in because Dragoon is willing to blind pretty much anything when it comes to that top side. But Darius is the big champion. It was his former one trick that he first got big on. I believe his first trip to Challengers was off of Darius one tricking. Yeah. I remember seeing that off of the Salty Runback podcast. Hawk and Grapes run that one. They had a big interview Dragoon. If you want to know more about him, be sure to watch that. But respect ban's coming through because we are going to be focusing onto that top side in the next phase of the draft.
Yeah, I gotta say, Quacker wasn't exactly our Jax player, so maybe LiT looking to go Cassante on 4 here, potentially, as that is one of the matchups that is better to Cassante. You can kind of deal with Renekton Sejuani. It's not the best, but that is an option, as we are going to see actually a marksman taken away. If LiT want to take a marksman here, of course, that Zeri is showing they could preserve that Volibear flex throughout the rest of the draft. It is what I'm somewhat expecting to see here, as this would be a very aggressive pick from Rockboom. But it would fit kind of what I was setting up to be that threat overload composition, Deserex, where you're going to have Nautilus, Volibear, even Azir piling in, trying to find heavy engage to set up Rockboom, who did play the Vayne once in this tournament with the hover. They got me baited a little bit there. Instead, it's going to be the Sivir, matching that into the Zeri.
We know how the Sivir can be. It does provide a lot of lane push. You can clear waves like no tomorrow, but as you scale and scale and scale, those crits from the bouncing boomerangs can do a lot of threat, can do a lot of damage. And you have that scaling threat compounded alongside an Azir that scales really well as well. So this is great for the late game. Great front line coming out from LiT. Now the response for Supernova. Trevor's been working wonders with this champion. Alistar gets locked.
I got to be honest. I would have, if I'm going Sivir, I would have banned Braum and Alistar here. I'm not as worried about the Jax. I know that, that's a ban thrown towards a Quacker, but Alistar is really, really strong into what's showing here. It deals really well with a lot of the champions. If Azir wants to go in, Alistar can break that combo, make Azir's life really tough. Not to mention how difficult it is for Sivir to lane and Alistar. Of course, you are that low range, and you cannot spell shield the combo. You have to spell shield one or the other. So that's going to be really tough for Rockboom to deal with. See if he is up to the task. Is that Renekton finally going to be locked in here on 5? What we were expecting is now that Volibear could very easily go top to play into the Renekton. It's actually one of the few matchups that I feel like Renekton scales into. Or, of course, I could put that Volibear in the jungle, and we'll see what they end up going top lane, as we are really playing around with some flexes. We're going to flex Nautilus here, maybe.
No way.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be a non-flex instead. Going to be an Alawi, actually, for Dragoon.
All right, interesting. Alawi getting locked in.
Man.
Dragoon, happy to play that on the R5. So this pretty much sets up our top side. It's going to be Alawi versus Renekton, Quacker versus Dragoon. We're going to have a lot of highlights over here. How are we considering this matchup to go? We've talked about it a bit. We are familiar with the way Dragoon's been playing. It's not the best in lane. Quacker's the more bloodthirsty of these two players.
Dragoon needs a little bit of time to get rolling. Alawi is very vulnerable to Renekton plus Sejuani early, so Dragoon's going to want to try and get an item before you can fight Renekton. Honestly, needs 2. And we'll see if there is a hull breaker in Dragoon's future, as that will be really telling of how he wants to play out this map, whether this can be more side lane focused or team fight focused. I gotta say, if it was a not flex and they picked Janna, I actually would have went wild. I think Janna's value is really high here against Alistar. Would make that pick a lot harder. Yeah. I got baited, man. LiT's drafts have been so fun between the Flex Volibear, Blind Mordekaiser, the Blind Nasus top 2. It's like, I don't even know what to expect from these guys, You
never know what they're going to pull out. Well, our first game is now ready as we hit the rift. It's going to be Supernova versus LiT Esports. A reminder, this is for a spot in the NACL for 2024 spring. It's going to be a best of 5. Let us know in chat who you want to win. SN for Supernova, LIT for LiT. But as we get into this game, we sat down with Quacker and asked about how he felt going into this promotion tournament.
As like the kind of like the favorites, I guess, as the NACL teams, I think we're technically supposed to be favorites. So I think with that in mind, I'm still feeling pretty good. I think our team's been doing well in practice. So yeah, no huge worries.
No huge words. I do want to say, Desrex, when I talk to Music, I asked, hey, what do you feel like Supernova has improved in the most from the end of the regular season to now? And he just said playing together as a team. And I got to say, I've really seen that so far with Supernova in this tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Again, have another composition that, for me, showing a little bit more early strength. They have the big meatballs and Sejuani, Renekton to get these double marksmen to the later stages of the game. But I want to see if they can use that teamwork to get some leads early. They have some parts of the map that can win out early. And if they do that, get these scaling marksmen to the later stages, could be very good for them.
I'm going to be interested to see how Trevor plays in this early game because the last matches I've been seeing from Supernova, Trevor has been willing to very, very aggressively roam out and try and impact mid lane. This little scrap going on between Dragoon and Quacker. Dragoon looking to get the better, needs to utilize more of those tentacles to get in, but you always got to respect that Q. Does give a good burst of health back. So we have a little bit of a war between Dragoon and Quacker.
Good of Dragoon to step back there. It could have been a flash and power W from Quacker to actually get the kill there. As Kizno, he's wrapping up his clear to end on the top side. So Music has done a full clear of his bot side. This means that Kizno will be up top first, will be spotted by a ward as we have Hook in, and Flock's going to get thrown into this.
Yeah, that's the struggle about going against an Alistair. Trevor able to shove him back in, but Rock Boom positions forward onto Sketch.
Wow.
Getting all the damage funneled right through as the Boomerang only catches the first proc onto Sketch. Still more damage onto Plux. He's critically low, but Trevor boots him the wrong way. The shield is enough to block the headbutt damage. Now Trevor's on the run. Rock Boom flashes forward, but it's not enough. You needed one more auto. Kizno in the top lane spots out Quacker. The bear will hop onto the Gator and have dinner. It's first blood for LiT.
All right, that clear for Kizno paying off. But I got to credit Rock Boom in this bot lane. The Sivir just continuously autoing with that lethal tempo, Desrex. Ended up really paying off for LiT. It's going to be a really rough base as the Sivir is off to a great start. Yes, Quacker did go down in the top side, but he was at least able to hold this wave. Dragoon will be forced to TP back, and with Music up here, looks like they could even look for a play on Dragoon when he does arrive back in this lane.
Yeah, that's going to be painful right there. Making sure to hold the wave, keeps it near the tower, and Dragoon is going to have to play forward. Lucky for him, he does still have his flash available, but the rest of Supernova are posturing up towards this side of the map and top.
Yeah, you can actually see Trevor has made his way here, so really putting prio on how important this is. Dragoon to spot out Music on a ward. So Music, we'll see if he bluffs this. He does have to clear out his Gromp and Blue, has already picked up that top crab. As now, Kizno, his response, take the bot crab. He's already done his job in the top lane. He's going to try and clear out his camps and get ahead of this Sejuani, or I should say, catch back up, as he did sacrifice this part of his jungle. Make sure he got that play in the top lane.
It's a pretty standard playbook coming out for Supernova. They love playing towards that top side. Music usually wants to capitalize on anything that Quacker is able to get. And if Quacker's behind, they want to get him ahead. And
Trevor waited for that ward to die.
Continue, my goodness.
He waited for the ward to die. Dragoon has to flash now.
Flash is coming in too late. He's going to get headbutted away. The stun lock is there. The crowd control is too much. Will lock him down and send him to the gray screen. Tries to turn it around for one more, but it's far too late. Quacker will get revenge.
I like that from Dragoon, not burning the flash. You would have had to flash the headbutt from Alistar, but of course Trevor, experienced Alistar player, holds that headbutt and just waits to use the pull. So good use of spells from Trevor. That is good patience. As now, we'll see if they attempt to dive here on the Sketch. This goes off from LiT. It's really bad. Yeah, they're going to burn the TP from Robbie Bob. That's well played from Supernova. I feel like that TP was very necessary, and if that bot dive does go over to Rock Boom, I think that's a problem. So good use of TP from Robbie Bob and Supernova.
I mean, the weak point that teams have attacked time and time again against Supernova has been this bottom lane, has been Sketch. They put him down so many times in the regular season. It was a rough season for him, so Supernova looking to aid in some of those issues that they were having, making sure that Robbie Bob has the heads up, We'll be able to stop that dive. Now Music to his own jungle, trying to stop Kizno from the way, but Lux roaming out means control for LiT in the river.
I like that you bring that up, Deserex, how, Sketch did fall behind. Of course, Trevor was top for like 2-3 waves there, but that also, I think, shows the other side of the coin of why Sketch sometimes gets behind, and that is the focus on making sure that Clacker is set up for success and ready to go. As you can see, Supernova put a lot of resources into making sure that Clacker's lane state was corrected in that top lane, and the fact that they were able to save Hot as well was big, as Robbie Bob actually had to burn the flash and not take a second tower shot. Good find there for messages as that scoop scores a flash.
That flash can be burnt away, so good coming out so far. LiT still putting the pressure onto Quacker. And the headbutt coming in. This has been pretty scrappy so far, Cubby. I'm waiting to say a point, but I keep thinking a fight's going to break out at the same time. And now that we're pretty established and settled here, I do know that Supernova love to play towards his top side, but not just for Quacker. Because Quacker gets strong, it means you can play a lot for Rift Herald. And Supernova, despite, being around the bottom of the standings in the regular season, one thing they did really, really well was get a lot of Rift Heralds. They were first in Rift Herald percentage. Only person they were tied with was Team Liquid Challengers.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that also shows that Clacker's champion pool oftentimes drafting champions that are strong around their Herald deck, the Renekton. So let's see if Supernova can execute that again. It's Quacker. He doesn't know Kizno's here.
Yeah, we'll have to flash away, but it still gets him to safety nonetheless.
Yeah, that's a smart flash there, as Kizno. Nice trap laid by him. I'm curious what LiT's response will be to what I expect to be an early Herald attempt from Supernova Deserex. It could utilize Sivir's push and slight priority in items to try and get that dragon on the bot side and just trade things out even. So I'm wondering if LiT can test the Rift Herald. If I'm in their shoes, yeah, Renekton doesn't have flash, but he still has that ultimate available when his Herald spawns. So I think LiT really have to bleed a lot of spells if they want to look for that still. And I would prefer to see them maybe trade out a dragon and play for some of the later stages where I mentioned in draft that the Tristana and Zeri, of course, do scale very hard, but it's not like the Azir and Sivir don't.
It does look like they have an idea to try and move up and potentially play around there for LiT, but won't be the case as they can't really get the setup. So instead, going to continue the wave push in the bottom lane with Rock Boom, both supports, kind of camping it out in the river. This is just not far from Robbie Bob. Goes in, but the jump comes in time, gets buffered out, will get out of the Emperor's Divide.
Wonderfully timed by Robbie Bob to prevent that play. That's a lot burner from messages now. Even more reason to not even attempt a Herald here for LiT.
Okay, we are getting word that a player is having some internet issues. So while they deal with that, it's back to our beautiful faces.
I had to reset there. I got the game here and my camera's here to hide the bed. So I got to be locked in, right? That's Rex. You got to get up close and personal.
Yeah, but the angle could be a little bit better. I know I got to angle towards you, which is hard because my monitor is this way, so I don't exactly get it right, but it is what it is. The player is now currently restarting their router, so once that is dealt with, we'll be able to get back onto the Rift. But so far, how are you liking this early game, Cubby?
The pains of remote casting and remote broadcasts, and remote competing. I'd say so far this game, I think that Kizno's done a nice job of actually trying to set Quacker behind. They've gotten a kill top and gotten the flash out of the Renekton. I'm expecting for Supernova to still be able to secure this upcoming Rift Herald. Tristana has a nice amount of shove mid. The Renekton still has ult and is very powerful early, even if he is down a flash. And I want to see LiT trade that out for Dragon, as Sivir does have push. From there, though, I think that's where things get interesting, because you're kind of playing around this break point of Tristana. Azir and Sivir, it's a strong combo with a ton of wave clear. This game is going to likely extend, especially if it's slower. But you have to hit that timer in the mid game to kind of score against Tristana before I think she gets 3-4 items, and importantly gets enough levels where she can somewhat outrange an Azir. Because Azir, if you're interacting within his range, can do so much damage, but if Tristana is able to successfully play around that, she has tools to do so. She is a menace in the late game that is so safe with her kit. It's really tough to deal with, and I'm not sure if LiT have the tools to deal with that later. So I think it's going to be kind of a game to see how hard of a spike can LiT find in the mid game, and can they limit Supernova from getting a big enough early game lead where they kind of miss that spike. So that's what I'm looking for in this game.
If I look at this at the very, very late game, I do see a lot of wave clear coming out to try and stall out this game for LiT, but the hardest thing I see from them is it's not the easiest to actually engage onto what Supernova have brought on. Instead, Supernova, who can deny a lot of that gauge because of that Alistair that was picked up by Trevor. So it feels like a lot of this game is going to be dictated by Supernova being the one to pull the gas pedal, if you will, and try and take over.
I think that Alistair pick was really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, when you have Alistair, it pretty much guarantees, like, with your ult, you're going to get 2 rotations to spells off. That's a lot better than some other supports. Like Nautilus, you're usually going for, like, one rotation. If you get a second or third hook in, you know, that's all gravy. Nautiluses are okay going in and dying if they get a good engage for their team. Not the case with Alistair when you press R. So, I thought that the not flex into a Janna pick would have been really funny, actually, from LiT. That would have been a really creative strat, but... yeah, I think it's a good highlight, Desert. It's going to be really tough to deal with that Alistair later, because he does do a really good job appealing for his double marksman here.
Look at this call right here. Plux is going towards Robbie Bob. Robbie does get the ward in time, so he won't get caught out by the hook. It seems like Rockboom and the rest of the bot lane are pushing up towards this Herald area.
Plux, like, just hit level 5, too. Usually it's the timer where you're kind of looking to actually net 6 off of mid-wave so you can play for this Herald. And speaking of Herald, it's actually going to be started up by LiT. I'm a bit surprised. I still think Supernova has a stronger Herald fight on its own. As LiT, I think they're just trying to kind of pull this and delay things. The bot lane of Supernova have rotated up. Trevor's really far up in the lane. He's going to be a little bit careful.
Oh, remember, he's not level 6, so he can't negate a lot of that damage, but a great knockup comes in. Now Plux in danger. Hopping in is going to be Robbie Bob. Plux will be the first one to fall. Sketch will grab that kill, and Supernova get control in the mid. It's time for that signature Herald that they love getting in the early.
Flash out. The turn from Trevor was enough as Supernova had a numbers advantage. The bot lane was there. The jungler was also there as Kizno was kind of pulling the Herald for them. And Supernova ended up cashing in on their numbers. Going to find that first Rift Herald. Well played from them. It's surprised that LiT ended up taking that fight as Azir still doesn't have access to that ultimate. Like, the attempted pick on the Trevor was good, but LiT stepped too far up after that. Didn't respect the turn of the numbers from Supernova. Get rightfully punished.
Now, with the situation at hand, means that LiT did not have the fight for the Rift Herald, so they're going to be later on the setup for this dragon.
Yeah.
You even have a recall coming out from Rockboom, so this is going to give Music some time to try and situate himself towards that side of the map.
No, I like that call, Desirux, because when I was saying, hey, give the Herald and take the dragon, that I mean, I can somewhat imply, take some bot side camp, take some resources, take something to try and at least make the map even. The fact that LiT opted into a fight there means they can't trade anything out, so Supernova just get a raw lead, the 1k gold lead plus a Herald in their pockets. And LiT, that's an opportunity, to get Kizno to farm an early Drake, take away some camps from the Sejuani. That's just missed out on now as Music's actually had a level. And Trevor going to use that sweeper intelligently to make sure that they always spot the Nautilus. Kizno is going to be on the dragon, and Sivir packs enough wave clear where I think this is going to go over with 3, but it's still delayed. So Supernova very happy they got the fight win mid at the Herald.
Still took a bit of time before LiT were able to start this out. Supernova holding the gold leads across the map thus far, except for Trevor. We expected. LiT grabs that first Drake of the game. Again, it's going to be delayed if they go for a dragon stacking win condition. So it's great out of Supernova. Even trying to get the steal is Sketch over the wall right there. But secured in the name of LiT will be the Cloud Drake.
Hey, YOLO, man. Like 50 mana to see what happens, right?
Why
Never
not?
a bad thing. Never know.
Could end up with, like, I don't know if you remember the old school play, Bloodwater doing Janna Tornado, accidentally steals Baron in the process. Anything can happen, man. Any sliver of damage.
Collegiate champion Bloodwater, of course.
UCI.
World's participant plus collegiate champion. Not bad.
But now focusing back onto this bot lane. Both junglers are ready to scrap. Knockup comes out from Trevor. 3 members of LiT focusing down onto the cow. He's not level 6. He is squishy. Hopping in with a slam jam. Thank you, ma'am. Trevor goes down and Kizno grabs the kill.
Good call here from LiT. Level 6 on their support. No access to 6 for Trevor's Alistar as that top roam kind of ends up not paying off as we had Music. I'm going to say pulling the wave might be a little suspect of our internet DC there. Who knows?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Might have found the culprit.
No, it's a shame, but nonetheless, team fight goes. And now you got 2 kills going over to Kizno. Now, what can we do with that? as a bear, Cubby, as someone who knows bears quite well.
I didn't prep my bear facts for today. I apologize, but hey, at least for Volibear, I think he's actually decently strong when you get the Iceborne Gauntlet. You can still find that Q stun in a slow field. Anyone that's flashless is easily punished. I think that we're going to see the bear throw out his top side of camps, and then maybe look for another play. We actually have Robbie Bob and Chunk here. Chunk?
Yeah, let's just hops right on in. Chunks at Robbie Bob. Rift Herald's still going to crash. Robbie Bob will camp out nearby it. Full plates going over the way of Supernova.
Nice. Message is going to burn the Q. Make sure that Herald goes into his pockets. As mid going to be hit. A little bit of a reset here on the map here for LiT. I'm kind of surprised that Kisner's not on his top camps. Wants to secure this bot crab. Had Flux to help him out. We should see him rotate to his top camp. Top camps after.
Or camp it out a little bit more, trying to spot Trevor on another roam. I mean, Trevor's been hyperactive on this, so if you wait in a bush, give it 30 seconds, Trevor's going to appear.
I gotta say, I really like how Messages, finds these free chunks on Azir. I feel like that, I guess, just sound Azir play, but more often than not, Messages still finds these. As we saw that point of view clip from him in the pregame about, how well he was able to kite out as Azir and find damage where it was given to him. It has been a pick where, LiT's been first picking Azir on blue side. I think that Messages has really shown some proficiency on this champion, and it's something that at this point we might have to look out for the series. We know that Robbie Bob can play Azir, can also play a lot of answers into Azir. We saw the Silas from him earlier in the tournament as well. But this seems to be a really powerful strat for LiT, and it's gotten to the point where I think Messages has shown enough proficiency where, as an opposing team, you got to prep and be ready for it.
And it's pretty fun to watch as well, because I feel like we didn't get the best shake of Messages back when he was on The Last Dance, and that team was going through their struggles. But it was mentioned earlier, it was a lot of young talent he was playing with then, and now being in the situation he's in, being with this squad, we've gotten to really see him develop, and it's showing. Even though, doesn't have any kills, he's going for these plays, he's trying to chunk the players out, and he's trying to have an impact. He's very active.
While we're quiet in the game, I do want to shout out Rockboom here for going for the Kraken Slayer. We've seen some Shiv from Sivir. I think that's almost like wave clear overkill, and especially when you're going into a front line like Renekton, Sejuani, Alistar. As Sivir, you're mostly going to be hitting the tanks, so Kraken Slayer, I think a good item here. Going to try and maximize the DPS instead of the wave clear that Sivir already has a lot of. I like that from LiT. As game plan for them, of course, use the Azir, make a little bit of space for the Sivir, and the two of them should pack enough damage to fund an entire team, Desirux.
Now Supernova going to focus bot side. It's trying to chunk out Rockboom, potentially looking for an angle to get a dive going, but not enough done, and too much manpower coming out from LiT over on this bottom end. Now Supernova are starting to hover because Dragon will spawn in the next 30 seconds.
And honestly, Supernova might think about this one, because look at the item breakpoints they have right now. Tristana's not going to have that Kraken Slayer ready, as it did take a pit stop for Vamp Scepter in the mid lane to try and have some sustain through the poke that Azir packs. And Iceborne Gauntlet plus Plated Steel Caps done for the top side of LiT into a very physical damage heavy team. I think it's going to be really efficient for them. So LiT, we did say they're kind of trying to hit this timer before the Triss gets too big. I feel like Triss doesn't have any firepower right now, and I really want to see LiT hit this dragon on spawn, as Kisner's going to prep it.
And if LiT hold control of the river, if they're able to get some going, and you can get a choke point running for Dragoon, Leap of Faith will tear apart a team. But right now, LiT are focusing onto the bottom lane. They're going to get an easy kill onto Sketch, and this is going to set up easy takings for not just the tower, but the dragon right after.
Yeah, I really like that call from LiT. That's a little bit too easy there. Supernova was hugging the top side. They, I think, probably should have played to rotate Trevor to at least defend Sketch bottom, and then played for the Herald if possible. As LiT just going to take that kill for free. They're even going to skip over the dragon as they're contesting this mid lane. And honestly, LiT, they didn't burn a ton for that. Like, they burned the bot side ultimates, but they could look for another fight if they really wanted to.
They definitely are. Gonna grab the Ghost of Quacker. A good bonk on the head as the Rift Herald going to be pulled. Rockboom is coming. Kizno is still doing the dragon, so it's going to be a 4-on-4.
I think the call for this is just to stall as long as possible. They're just going to hit the mid wave and give this. I like this. The Fox is way too
Oh, Trevor on the flank, though, sets up success for Supernova. Leap of Faith going down. Dragoon trying to get the damage going. Look at the regen coming through. They can't take down Dragoon. And the Rift Herald finally going to go the way of Supernova. Now here comes Sketch. Emperor's Defied coming through from messages. Looking to stop the engage. Robbie Bob, rocket jump on. Will take down Dragoon in the process, but the health bars are low for Supernova. 2 kills picked up by Rock Boom as he looks to hunt down Supernova.
Man, I love the pocket that Rock Boom finds in this fight. He zoned Sketch off as the Sivir and then is able to free hit the tanks as he is ignored. Messages had a great ult to buy space for him and the Sivir. That's how you should play a 0+ Sivir, as LiT continue to prove, Desrex, that when they group up as a team, they really know their roles well. And this is a comp for Supernova that needed to get ahead early. They have a numbers advantage here, but they lose out on the fight.
Yeah. Look at how this went. I really thought this fight was going to go Supernova's way, but then the amount of time Dragoon stalls with this Leap of Faith allow he regen so much.
I mean, it's so much damage that goes over to Music because everyone jumped into a Lowy. Dragoon steps up again. Yeah, the Herald secured. Sketch is here, though. They feel like they can turn, but Meech, or I should say Meech. How did I say Meech? Messages. Great ultimate here from the Azir. Sketch gets zoned out by Rock Boom. He can't auto anymore. And Rock Boom's positioning was outstanding in this fight, Desiree. He was able to DPS on the carry and Sketch and then move on to the tanks once Sketch was zoned out of the fight. Really good play from our Sivir here as Quick Blade's now picked up. Gonna be more Qs, more Ws, more spell shields for Sivir as Rock Boom gonna continue to weigh down the deeps.
I get it, Cubby. I completely get it. Meech just won a championship, and right now, Rock Boom's having a championship performance, so I get the mix-up. Do not worry. All that being said, though, LiT, they will take a 1K gold lead, and this positioning of the Sivir is setting up a nasty late game that Supernova might not be ready for.
Yeah, Sivir's late game. Zeri, for me in this matchup, Zeri kind of has to get ahead, and then you can do some work. But if you're not ahead as the Zeri, Sivir does outscale, and Rock Boom is... He's got the most gold in the game on his own shoulders here, Desiree. He is already at 2 items. No one else has hit that bill. So props to Rock Boom, man. I feel like he's been a real standout in this tournament as a pleasant surprise. The fact that he has peers talking about him or rooting for him, for me, always says a lot from these players. Because, of course, with scrims and solo queue, there's sometimes a lot of opportunities to play against each other and sometimes a lot of respect shown and gained by these guys. The fact that Rock Boom has really made such a splash in this tournament has been great to see. And he's earning it with his play.
Shout out to Alt Battery, one of the casters of the qualifiers, and also was here on the promotion tournament. Watch it everywhere, man. You got cell phones now. You got no excuse for not tuning it up. As get lit up, Alt Battery says, showing his fandom right there. I can't show my fandom. Winthrop got eliminated.
No more biased caster here. Hey, he's just a fan of education, you know?
Yeah, I want more collegiate squads. I do like collegiate esports.
It's always fun collegiate, as we do have our season kicking off for some of these guys rather quickly. As a couple collegiate alum ourselves, Trevor with UST in this game, along with Robbie Bob. The back-to-back. Rock Boom, of course, from St. Clair. Still have our influence in this one. You can still root for some people and be biased, SRX. But at the moment, it is LiT who have the bias of the map and the gold lead of 1.6k gold as turret secured from Dragoon on the top side. 2 dragons to their name as well, as we have another one spawning here in 90 seconds. We'll see if LiT decides to play for the Chemtech ult.
I mean, LiT, they can pretty much hold control of this map with the gold lead that they have, because as long as Rock Boom's able to go from lane to lane, he clears out those waves oh so fast. And you can see right now that LiT have lit up the topside river. Lots of wards placed over there as Supernova walking through them. The recalls come in. Rock Boom, now 2 items completed, also has that last whisper. Returns to the map. Remember, that last whisper works on the bouncing blades as well, so it's going to be really nice.
How many times are we going to use any jokes involving the LiT or get lit up?
This is the frustrating thing, because it's like, you're not trying to make the pun. It's the word is just there, and it's in your vocabulary.
You're just like, I feel like LiT, you know, just look to that side of the jungle and they're like, yeah, get lit up, you know? That's it. That's my dad joke of the day.
Oh, I say lit up like Christmas all the time, and now that LiT's here, everything is a LiT pun. It's the way
Everything
it is.
is
This is how branding should be.
No, it really isn't. I detest all this. I don't know. I think we need some more fresh
Got the
slogans
degree.
here.
I'll trust you.
Yeah. Anyway, Supernova going to be forced to the top side of the map while Chemtech is spawning. I'm going to not be a coper here and say something very based and say that Chemtech's Soul actually can be abused by Wits Comp. With Azir plus Sivir, you can actually utilize Chemtech Soul and Chemtech Dragons pretty well. So I think this Dragon isn't something that Lit should just be like, hey, it's whatever, it's Chemtech Soul, we don't have to play for this. Denying it from Double Marksman 2, not that bad. As Kisno going to solo it again. And it is uncontested as Lit keeping a lot of members on the top side. Trevor going to get the flash of Plux, but I feel like it's a very intelligent flash from Plux, understanding where he's at right now. The fact that it's a 3v5, they're securing the Dragon. Yeah. All in all, losing support flash for a free Dragon, not bad. As Lit trying to buy some space here. They do spot out Trevor. Baron is started, but Supernova don't really have the DPS for this.
No, they're still trying to stick it out. Here comes Trevor. Trevor's still staying on that flank. Dragoon caught out, gets headbutted. Now going in, it's going to be Quacker. Looking to find Rock Boom. Rock Boom's taking a lot of damage. Wow. Look at the spell shield, able to take down the Gator. Knocked up. Here comes the Bear. Flashes over to chase down Sketch. Looking to rip and bear him apart, but he will not fall just yet. Now looking for the frontline music. Able to take the blast plant away and Lit take 2 for nothing.
I gotta give Lit more credit. I feel like they have a really good understanding of how to play this comp. They're just walking backwards, utilizing the Azir and the Sivir, the slows and the bonus move speed to get to DPS down whoever goes too far forward from Supernova. They've got the Baron, the 2.5k. They're gonna try and keep Music out.
Music, he's going for the steal. Can Music do it? It's getting low. He's got a chance, but it doesn't get secured. It's Messages who's able to get it in. Rock Boom with the chase. It's gonna be burgers. Do you smell what Rock Boom's cooking?
Turo Baron buff secured, man, as Lit trying to make this one an easy back cap. They're at Soul Point. They have a 4k gold lead with a scaling advantage in their composition, and I feel like Lit, they've yet to drop a game in this tournament, and I think a lot of it is because they just understand what they need to do to win right now as Robbie Lob's going in.
Yep, catches him out. Rock Boom's
shielded it.
Still able to flash, and yeah, the spell shield's going to be really big right there, and Rock Boom's going to survive. Robbie Bob, empty-handed.
Well done, Robbie Bob. Honestly, you'll take Sivir Flash, as Sivir is no sums now. That is something that Supernova can look to punish. I feel like that is worth a TP from Robbie Bob when there are going to be no objectives up within the time that TP is going to be available. You're going up against the Baron. Well played from Robbie Bob, but still, it is Lit who have the lead. Lit who are making the plays, and Lit whose carries are very far ahead of the power curve this game.
That's 5-0-3 on Rock Boom right now. That is a very terrifying Sivir. 3 items completed. Still working that way over towards Messages, has 2 as well as his stopwatch.
Yeah.
What I'm going to be looking for is what else is going to be complete by the time that Dragon comes up.
Yeah, Messages with the Nashers has access to some serious deeps now. As Supernova looking for a pick on the top side. They understand they're a bit behind at this point. So, gone fishing. Gonna take another look. Watch how Lit kite this one back. So I think it's a good start from Trevor. They don't get Messages on this. Very close. Dragoon, really good flash here to actually dodge out from a point-blank Sejuani ultimate. With that, Lit just walk backwards. They take Quacker, who TP'd behind them to try and find the angle. They just play out who's in front of him. Sketch right in front of the Nautilus. He ends up getting burned down again from Lit, as Kisno just takes him out of the fight with a Q from Rock Boom. Robbie Bob forced the flash backwards. Numbers advantage on the top side as he overcommitted to try and find a kill. And they just take what's given to them. When you're playing a comp like Sivir Azir, it's kind of the theory of what you want to play it as. Make sure that you're playing front to back and then take whoever overextends. I think Lit did a really good job of that there. It's why they ended up coming out on top of the fight.
See the struggle for Sketch? He was trying to step up to take down that cannon creep, and he loses about 1/3 of his health within the blink of an eye. Now, here comes the siege for Lit, going down the mid lane.
Yep.
What in the world can Supernova do? It doesn't really seem like much. You're going to be dealing with a lot of these bouncing boomerangs, which can chip away at your health bar. Sketch has got to be careful about his positioning to not really get taken down by that. As well as, like, trying to find forward engages. Ember's Divide can put a hard stop to everything right now. Everything. Every single thing is in Lit's hands.
You can see that subway damage dealt from the last fight too, as Rock Boom, he's rocking the biggest footlong on that graph. And yeah, he's at 3 items. LDR completed. The Sivir going to shred. This is a very high DPS build. I actually really like the Zeal as well. Would go for Phantom Dancer on the back half as Plex gonna head for the hills, but LiT's here to defend. They could collapse. Here we go.
And Dragoon can choke out this point with a leap of faith. Here come the tentacles, and Supernova have no chance. Sketch on the run. The Depth Shark's gonna catch him. A great angle out of Sketch to find his escape, but the same can't be said for Quacker. 3-2 go down on the side of Supernova as LiT continue their dominance.
LiT's drafts have been lit, man. I actually really like what they're doing. The Volta is just holding the door for this front line with just a massive backline engage. No one can really break the bear in the earlier stages of the game. Kisno just going for full armor too, stacking up that Frozen Heart against Tristana, Renekton, and Zeri. Honestly, feels terrible for Supernova. I feel like LiT, whatever, like, they play different stuff, but they have a really good understanding of what they play, and I think that's why they're gonna stay undefeated so far in this tournament as our 6th seed.
I love the quirky picks. I love the way they play the map, and this team slowly winning my heart right now while slowly driving a stake into the heart of Supernova fans. Robbie Bob is caught out. That's another kill going over for LiT, and look at that timer. Dragon is up. It's time for the soul.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Rockboom pushing down mid too. You can see Sketch looking to stay up there. It's not going to be spotted, but LiT going to secure that soul for free and then prep that bot wave to try and start the sieging as messages. Yeah, he's got the deeps on his ear. He's going to be just fine here.
Easily secured. Sketch is still getting a lot of income. He was able to take that tier 2 and tier 1 tower off of a single push, but yeah, this is a big butt right there, and it's currently in the base of Supernova.
I love how Rockboom skipped out on 2 autos on the inhibitor to make sure he gets the wards. That's maximizing income. We love that. So some economics classes were taken.
Is that part of your coaching, Cody?
I'm just trying to relate things back to collegiate, man. I'm trying to get you fired up. Maybe I want bias caster as Rex back. You know?
No. I was kind of thinking of like the whole marketing stuff now. I'm kind of stuck on that. You railed me since then.
Unfortunately, demand's a little bit lower than the supply for that, so we're gonna save some of those for later.
Okay, there you go.
I want to kill the market more, you know.
Go. Got it. Well, you want to kill Sketch as well? Because he's out of position right now, forced to use his flash, and I don't think this is going to be an escape for him. Ooh, look at the flank, though. Music is able to stop this. Flash comes out from Rockboom, gets away from Trevor, as Quacker goes for the flash onto Rockboom. Can't find him because the Emperor's Divide will put a stop to that. Messages finds another. It's a great pulverize coming out from Trevor, but there's nothing left to fight for Supernova as they fall by the wayside one by one. The only one that remains is Music. That's 4 slaughtered, and LiT look for the close.
Rockboom and Messages, man, they've been playing these later game carries, and it's been so good for LiT this tournament. And you can see the team fighting that the 2 of these guys have, using the Azir to peel for the Sivir, and then Rockboom as well, understanding like, hey, this is when I use my flash. I use it for the Alistar combo. That's really, really good stuff from Rockboom. I remember when I saw him, he was like only a master tier player for St. Clair. I was kind of talking through like some marksman theory of like, hey, like this is how you can plan your summoner spells. He mentioned that to me when I interviewed him earlier in this tournament. He's like, hey, I've been thinking about that. Like, it's actually like pretty good. It's a great example of that there. I'm going to use my flash to dodge out on the first Alistar combo. Yeah, the second one hit, but you called it out, Tesserex. The fight was already over by then in favor of LiT. And Rockboom was maximizing DPS, took down the right targets, man. Saying really good things from LiT so far. And they moved to 5-0 in this tournament and 1-0 in this series.
You know, credit to Rockboom, but also credit to Messages because he's doing the same type of positioning. Emperor's Divide is pretty much providing this layer of protection as well as getting away from these targets that are trying to dive onto him, flashing at the right times. The carries of LiT are pretty much on fire right now. Can they continue that momentum? We're going to take a moment to throw over a break. When we return, we'll have Mad Magical and the Subway halftime refresher.
Subway refreshed their ingredients, their menu, and now they're slicing their meats fresh. That's why their new Subway Series subs are preferred by this champ.
And his future champ. Pros who are talking heads prefer fresh sliced turkey.
And pros who use their heads prefer fresh sliced ham.
More deli meats are preferred by this QB.
And preferred by his old backup QB.
And if we prefer it, we know you'll prefer it too. Is this slice as good as your tennis slice?
I can't answer that, but yes.